Alright, you know that I promised a mental health video today, and I know that Instagram voted like before last Tuesday for that video, and I know that I didn't do it last Tuesday because I was burnt out after doing 3 videos the week before. This is not going to be my mental health story. Welcome to my channel if you are new here, and welcome back if you're coming back. And I will say this is going to be a mental health video. It's going to be related to mental health in at least some sort of tangential way. It's just not going to be my mental health story because that one gets pretty deep and dark and personal and raw, and it's just too hard for me to film still at this point, so I still have the draft on my computer, and at some point I will make that video, but not today. Now, in the one hand, that's good because it's Monday night and I'm finally recording for Tuesday's video. And that means I don't have to go and gather all of my resources and stuff that I would have to put in the description for my mental health story. But that being said, serious note here, I do still talk in this video about a lot of disordered eating sort of stuff and some aspects of poor mental health, and if you find that sort of content triggering, please click off, don't continue watching this video. Do what you need for your own mental health. If you want to support me even though you can't watch the video, then you can maybe give it a thumbs up before you leave, and I can get that sweet algorithm engagement stuff. But you totally don't have to do that. Alright, so what is this video? Well, you probably read the title. It's 4 things, sort of the top 4 things in no particular order that I found are not helpful when you're trying to make physically healthy changes, but you want to not like totally mess with your own mental health at the same time. This is going to be a what not to do. Now, this is based entirely on my own experiences with my various attempts to lose weight, and it is not based on, you know, any specific accredited expertise. I am not an expert. I'm just a person who has tried and failed and succeeded in various amounts at losing weight and who is currently on a journey of recovering from binge eating and is doing relatively well at that. So without further ado, again, in no particular order, things not to do if you want to make yourself physically healthier and or lose weight without sacrificing your mental health. Number 1, don't make weight loss your primary goal. Yeah, some people say, but I need to lose weight, and that's well and good, but weight loss is a result. It's not an action. And so it's very easy when you are trying to make changes for the sake of losing weight, if your focus is all on the weight loss, to get demotivated or to not pay as much attention to your habits because you're focusing on the results. And weight loss is non-linear. I'm gonna put a picture up here of my weight chart from September. My weight chart from September in Libra, and you'll see it goes kind of all over the place a little bit. It's on a trend downwards, but it's not steady. And if you weighed at certain points, you might look like you're getting way more progress than you are. You might look like you're getting way less progress than you are, and you can therefore, that can mess up your motivation. And I know that this is a problem because I know in my history video I've talked about this, all of the like various times that I've tried to lose weight, and so many of those, almost all of them, have been where I put the goal, the primary goal, what I was trying to do was weight loss, rather than what I was trying to do was be more healthy and eat in a way that supported my health. And basically every time I have done that, I've either focused entirely on exercise, like I did in 2006, where I made no changes to diet and I tried to exercise my way to losing weight and I got very demotivated because exercise is very healthy and it definitely supports other healthy habits, but it does not generally lead to very much weight loss in and of itself, because it's a lot easier not to eat the junk food than it is to keep yourself in a caloric deficit through exercise while you're eating all the junk food. Let's put it that way. So what I am doing instead right now, and what I did instead in 2015, which was when I had the most success in making more stable habit changes, is focusing on the actions, and focusing on the actions on a day-to-day basis and saying, look, I'm trying to build better habits. I am trying to eat more sustainably. I'm trying to get enough sleep. I'm trying to exercise, and I'm trying to, eat more reasonable portions than I have a lot, with my history of binge eating. So number one thing that I have found does not work for me if I want to be healthier and have healthier physical habits, but I want to keep my mental health intact, is that I cannot make weight loss my primary goal. This is because weight loss is a result, it's not an action. And weight loss as a primary goal, I have found for me, is not mentally healthy. Eating for health and making good habits with a side effect of fat or weight loss is much more sustainable because I'm focusing on actions. Bodies, I have found, are weird. They hold water in weird places. If you are stressed, if you're not sleeping enough, if your hormones are at a certain place, you might hold water, and you're gonna get real demotivated if you're trying to lose weight and you're only focusing on the number on the scale. It's also really easy to slip into some of the other habits that I'm going to talk about later in the video if you focus on weight loss as a primary goal, because your focus is on results and not on actions. So, number two thing I can say that was not healthy for me in all of my weight loss attempts was logging too many details. I'm going to go into a little story time here. It's about, I think it was 2017, it was late August. My mom was making this Indonesian fried rice dish for my brother's birthday that she makes every year because he really likes it, but it's quite labor intensive. So she makes it once a year for his birthday. I had told her I was going to help her make it, and then I think I overslept or something, went down to the kitchen, and she had already started. And I remember just breaking down because that meant I couldn't weigh all the ingredients. That meant I didn't know how heavy the carrots and the coleslaw vegetables she had put in were. Yes, it also meant I couldn't measure the oil, but I was just as upset about the vegetables that I couldn't weigh, so I didn't know exactly how many calories were in this fried rice, as I was about the oil, which is much more calorie dense. And I was just disproportionately upset about this, because my whole life felt like it was falling apart because I didn't have exact measurements. I only had tablespoon measurements for oil, and I only had cup measurements for cabbage. And it's cabbage is 8 calories a cup. It doesn't matter if I had 400 grams of cabbage or 200 grams of cabbage. At that point, per serving, that's not making a difference. And I knew that. But I had gotten so in my head about having to measure everything I ate that this one thing of not being able to have it all measured by weight was the end of the world for me. And so I know that if I try to measure everything really specifically, and if I get too into the details, it is very quickly a way that I get really in my head and really anxious and just start thinking really, really badly about food. My actions deteriorate, I am overly preoccupied, and it's just not a good time. So if you're any of that relates to you, of where you start focusing on details too much and everything just becomes the details, I would say try not to log super specifically. If you want to track your food so you know how much and what you're eating, do it in a way that does not require such specific measurements. Either measure by volume, by estimated portion size, learn what is calorie dense and what is not, and where you have space to say you don't care. You ate an apple, and whether it was an extra large apple or a large apple, it doesn't really make a big difference. Or you ate a potato, whether it was a 400-gram potato or a 360-gram potato, that doesn't make a difference, right? You need to learn what portion sizes you want to measure a little more closely, which ones really don't matter, and you want to try and measure as loosely as you can while still seeing results that make you happy. But again, you're focusing on actions, not results, so it is what it is. But like so many times on like weight loss groups or forums or subreddits, you see people say, I'm experiencing a stall. And everyone says, well, are you weighing absolutely everything you eat? Well, I'm weighing everything except non-starchy vegetables. Well, you should weigh your non-starchy vegetables. Look, weighing your non-starchy vegetables is not the thing that's going to put you in a plateau, okay? And you'll also see people who are like, I'm brand new to trying to eat healthier and make these healthy choices. And everyone's like, okay, well, you need to start out by buying a food scale and weighing everything. And it's like, no, most people don't, okay? Most people don't need to go that into detail, and I think most people probably shouldn't be starting off going into that kind of detail, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed or to get really into the details and forget about the bigger picture, which is eating in a way that you find satiating but that supports your overall health, so that you're not eating a whole bunch of, you know, calorie dense but very nutrient dilute food in order to feel full. So that's my number 2 thing. Don't get too into the details. It's really, really easy to play mind games with yourself when you get too into the details and forget the bigger picture. On the flip side, my number 3 thing is not paying enough attention to what you eat. It's all about balance. So I have had times where I have experimented with not paying attention to what I eat, either by not counting calories or by not keeping a food journal, or not even like mentally tracking what I eat. And what always happens there for me, maybe not always, but what has happened a lot for me is I would start playing mind games with myself. I didn't eat breakfast, therefore I can have this snack and that snack and this other snack. And the next thing I know, I feel real bloated and I don't know why. Well, it's because I ate like 4 times as many snacks as I would have eaten breakfast. And why didn't I eat breakfast? Because I was worried I wouldn't have space for snacks later. Well, if I ate breakfast, I wouldn't have been hungry for snacks later. Or playing mind games with myself where I'm like, well, I wanted to have this meal at night, so I'm going to eat like very little during the day. And convincing myself I've eaten too much, and then finally you get to the evening and you're just tired from trying to tell yourself you've eaten too much because you weren't counting calories, or you weren't like writing down what you ate and you don't really remember what you ate, and so you realize then you get really tired and you think you've eaten too much already, or you think you haven't eaten enough and you just end up overeating later because you aren't paying enough attention to what you're eating. So it's about that balance. Find that balance where you can sustainably keep track in some form of what and how much you're eating in a way that does not push you too far into the details, but that doesn't have you feeling like you have no real information on your portion sizes and stuff like that, so that you can know how to find that balance where you're eating according to your appetite and you're eating in a way that's satiating and you're eating in the way that hits all of your macro and micronutrient goals and all that sort of stuff. Let me tell you a story I did in 2015. This is a 2015 story. I did an experiment where I didn't count calories until after I was done eating for the day, so I would just write down what and how much I ate. And at that point, I didn't have that much of a hold on knowing that, you know, this portion size is reasonable and it's fine. And I didn't have quite as good of a hold on my going for a goal calorie range. I was still very much in a mindset of having to hit an exact amount of calories. So trying to pay less attention to calories and be more mindful inversely then again put me into this mindset of focusing way too much on the details, and I was playing mind games with myself, and I was under eating early in the day and then eating a whole lot late at night. And then that in 2015, that experiment is where my anxiety over being done eating for the day first started. And I've talked about that anxiety in a few videos, not sure which, so I won't put up a card, but basically I have struggled for a long time with anxiety about being able to say, okay, that's enough food for the day. I would like basically want to eat all the way up until bedtime, and only recently have I started to get away from that. And I did that by always having a slice of peanut butter and jam toast, which I've done for a few weeks, and now I'm at the point where I don't feel I necessarily need that toast at the end of the night. I can just say, I'm done eating for the day, regardless of what my final meal was. I will still probably eat peanut butter and jam on a piece of toast most days because that's delicious, and I have gotten past that anxiety by finding that balance between paying no attention and paying too much attention to what I eat, or the quantity and stuff like that. Now finally, the thing that I have found is bad for mental health while trying to lose weight is comparison. Comparison has been called by so many people the thief of joy, and it's so true. And I am going to go out here and say, some people say don't compare yourself to others, only compare yourself to yourself, but don't compare yourself to yourself either. Maybe compare yourself to yourself yesterday, but don't compare yourself to yourself in a bigger, broader term, because here's the thing. I did that for so long. 2015. You've heard me talk about it. I even talked about it several times in this video. 2015 was a bit of a formative year for me. I had a lot going on. I lost a lot of weight. As you can tell, I'm still working on not comparing myself to my 2015 self. I am not that person. 2015 D is not 2020 D. There's other things going on in my life. 2015, I had certain things stressing me in my life, but I also had certain things enriching my life. 2020, I have certain things stressing me out in my life, but I have other things enriching my life, like this YouTube channel and the Discord communities I'm part of, right? And I can't continue comparing myself to 2015 just because I saw a lot of results then, because looking back at how I was thinking in 2015, I have moved so far past that it's like it doesn't matter what I did in 2015. 2020 me has different needs, I have different methods, I have different strategies that I should be using, and I don't need to say this is what worked then, so I have to do exactly that. And I'm going to link in the description a wonderful person named Zach, and he has started a Twitch stream. He's just got an affiliate, and he does like sort of coaching, and he did a free coaching Friday stream a couple weeks ago. And one of the things he talked about with one of the people he did a coaching session with was about not comparing yourself to yourself, because it doesn't work. And that like hit me so hard that you can tell how passionate I am saying this sort of stuff now. It's so true. So don't compare yourself to yourself, and certainly don't compare yourself to other people. I'm going to do another story time, and I'm going to give another content warning here because this is going to get a little bit more into the disordered eating / eating disorder zone. So if that will trigger you, please click off. And if you're the kind of person who's going to look at me totally different because you know this sort of stuff about me, also please click off. So I used to lurk in certain subreddits to try and find, like, I told myself I was to try and find recipes and stuff, and it probably initially was that were, you know, high volume, low calorie because I am such a volume eater, because I'm a recovering binge eater. So I was on certain subreddits for recipes and that sort of stuff, but really the effects of that led to more to me feeling like I must be doing something wrong because my process wasn't the same as other people's process, and my progress wasn't the same as other people's progress, and I was eating more than these people said they were, but I was seeing the same or more results, and I was like, what in the heck is wrong with me? And it was just really bad for my mental health because honestly, I kind of like tripped myself up because things were going relatively easy for me, and I started comparing myself to other people who were all having all these struggles and stuff, and I was like, well, I must be doing it wrong because it's easy. And so like I think I like subconsciously started sabotaging myself because I needed to prove that my effort was real and it's just as valid even though it was easy for me. And just, man, it was bad. Really following those specific subforums got me nowhere good fast. It eventually, between following those subreddits and comparing myself to my 2015 self once I started regaining, I went from going to those subreddits to going to certain online forums that may have had Pro Anna in their name. And I told myself it was because the regular weight loss forums didn't understand my struggles and I needed support for my binge eating issues and all that sort of stuff. But that just led me to reading other people's stories of what they were going through and how they were eating and trying to compare myself to that and trying to eat like that. Which, as you can imagine, led me into restrict binge cycles. Now, instead of just binge eating having an issue, I was having an issue with over restriction, which is why I started paying too much attention to details, which is why I had that breakdown in the kitchen over cabbage. And also why I asked for a full fruit platter instead of a birthday cake one year. Because my brain was in a bad place in regards to food, in regards to my mood, in regards to so many things. And sure, I looked great. 2017 in the summer, I was back down around 145 pounds. But it wasn't sustainable, it wasn't healthy, and I was in probably the worst place mentally that I had been in a long time. That was after my first go of therapy and before I started on meds, which is something for the video that I was going to put out today that I haven't. But yeah, it was just ridiculously bad. Do I think I developed a restrictive eating disorder from that? No, because all it did was throw me in a restrict binge cycle. But it was unsustainable. It was unhealthy. It was really messed up, and it had me playing so many mind games with myself and food. And so I would say this is the important thing. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare what you're doing to what other people are doing. Don't compare yourself to what you did in the past that worked or didn't work. Every day is a new day. You have new needs, you have new challenges, and you have new tools that make things easier. And this is something I'm still working on. Like, I still struggle with eating socially because I'll compare what and how much I'm eating to what and how much other people are eating. Like, their needs aren't mine. Their desires aren't mine. Their appetites aren't mine. And their food restrictions aren't mine, so why does it matter? Well, somewhere in my brain I'm still learning that it doesn't matter. And I'm still learning not to compare myself to myself in the past. And I just hope if you take one thing then from this video, you take not comparing yourself to other people and not comparing yourself to yourself in the past. Because some of the other things I talked about in this video may work for you. They may not. They may resonate with you, they may not. But the one thing I think universally you can't do if you're trying to be physically healthy without damaging your mental health at the same time is comparison. Like, I think that's just universally not good. And you may say, no, I find real inspiration in looking at other people's stuff. Sure, but are you comparing yourself to them? Or are you just looking at them and saying, hey, they did this cool thing, that's cool, maybe I can do this cool thing. I think that's not really comparison. I feel like I had something more to say about comparison, so you may see a video later about comparison, because I just got real fired up about that for a while. But yeah, I hope that something in this video resonated with you, and if you like this video, I'd love if you give it a thumbs up. If something did resonate with you, or if something resonated with you the opposite way, or if you have your own things that you want to add that you're like, this is like a thing not to do if you are wanting to be mentally healthy while you are making healthy physical changes. Comment down below. I love seeing your comments. And if you think I've got a good thing going here, I'd love it if you subscribed and rang the bell, because bells are fun, and we have Christmas-like weather out here in Canada, and bells have something to do with Christmas. Yes, I did write that into my script. Apparently there's gonna be a bell thing in my videos from now on, when I remember. Anyway, I also have an Instagram, and I have not posted on there much the past week or so, but I'm usually try and post at least once a day, either in a story or in a post. And if you have Instagram and do the Instagram thing, then it'd be cool if you followed me on Instagram. It's also where I put polls and information about videos and stuff, because I don't have enough subscribers to run a community tab. So if you want the inside scoop on YouTube, then following my Instagram is a good thing. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully one day soon I will make that mental health story video, hopefully at some point before I have to worry about the fact that it's probably a video that would get demonetized if I were monetized. And I hope that this was mental health related enough for those of you who voted for it on Instagram that you guys are now satisfied I made that mental health video you voted for. That's all I have to say for now. I hope this video wasn't too long, but Editing D will know. Bye!